Yeah.
Yo, it looks like Leffen is the fourth panelist.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel, you wanna start
Yeah.
us off here?
All right, we're live.
We've been live.
All right.
We've been had live.
We've been had live, yo.
Oh damn. Okay, welcome to the first episode of Talking Melee, featuring Jungle Guy. What's up?
How's it going, dude?
Hi, you guys. Sheridan. What's up?
Greetings.
And myself,
What's up with you?
Patrickins. Doing well. It's been busy. People have saw the preview of Melee Anatomy 2.0. It's
Yeah,
exciting times.
That looks really, really cool. I'm so glad that we're gonna have that soon. What's the timetable on that? You think it can be up by like MLG Evo ish?
I'm hoping to sabotage E3 with it.
Yo,
Yeah.
good stuff.
So-
Is the stuff saved from is the content all gonna be saved from the previous website? I'd hate to lose all those comments.
So right now we're direct linking it from meleeitonme.org because
Right.
the database is accessible. So that's what we're doing right now.
Oh yeah. I think that's still hosted on my SiteGround.
Yeah, it is.
We'll chat about that later.
Anyway, so what's our first topic?
Oh, we got ROF, right? I'm actually not looking at the agenda. Okay, I got it pulled up now. ROF reaction. So I mean, it's been a few days, but I think it was such an impactful result that people are still talking about it, right? Leffen over Armada. So what I saw was a 3-0 in winners finals by Armada, and then the exact same match in grand finals, but Leffen and Armada switched places. So Leffen's
Pretty
now
much.
he's won what 4 of the last 5 over Armada. The last 5 sets.
Sets. Yeah.
4
uh-huh.
of the last 5 sets. That begs the question: does Leffen deserve to be included in like a Big Six discussion?
Right.
Are we at that point yet? What do you think?
Well, I think he's clearly in a tier above everybody else that's not in the Big Five.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, it just seems silly to have the Big Five as one tier, Leffen as in his own tier, and then everybody else below him. So I think, realistically, you have to put him in there right now.
Is Leffen the Captain Falcon of the tier list of melee players? Falcon has been 7th like forever, hasn't he? He's never gonna move.
Right. It's always Captain Falcon 7, Ice Climbers 8.
Yep. So
That's the constant in the tier list.
I kind of agree with that. I don't think he's in the Big Five yet. There's some Reddit people who are saying, "Yo, replace Armada with Leffen in the Big Five." I don't think that's. I don't think we're there yet. But he's clearly. If we did an SSBM rank right now, which aren't we gonna do like a mid-year thing?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna get out the form this Monday, and I'm hoping to get it out around Skitar 3.
Yeah, so
Uh-huh.
if and when we do that, I think Leffen's clearly number 6 right now. Maybe even number 5. If
Yeah,
you just
that's
look
the
at
thing,
the body
is-
of work for 2014, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you just look at 2014, I mean, he started off Apex with a pretty big statement.
Yeah.
And has only done, everything that can be reasonably expected of him. I
Yep.
think, so I mean, it has only been a stretch of 5 months,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a long time, but I mean, there's 3 big tournaments where he's taken out somebody in the Big Five.
Yeah.
You
And-
can't. It's hard for me to say, you don't belong there because
Right.
with that evidence staring at you.
I think it's interesting because I would have said Hungrybox was number 6 had he not been Mewtwo King. I think he was on the verge of being stuck below his own
Right.
tier, and then he takes Mango to game 5, he beats Mewtwo King. So it's all this weird shuffle. It kind of reminds me of NorCal, where we had that phase where it was SFAD, Shroom,
Yep.
PPU, and Zoo kind of all beating each other.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of like that.
Yeah. I have a quick question for you, Daniel. The SSBM rank, is that going to take into account very specifically the body of work in 2014, or are we going to carry over some, ranking precedent from last year? Because if you think about it, Armada hasn't beaten, anybody in the Big Five since I guess he beat M2K at Evo, but before that, it's been over a year. Besides that,
Yeah. So what I'm doing, so I'm gonna have a very select because it's only top 25. I imagine that a lot more people would be willing to do it because they're less stressed out about having to rank as many people. So I'm actually having a very select few people do it instead of just opening it to the public. And I'm going to be very specific and say, although 2013 kind of has some precedence, focus on what people have done since like a roughly Big House 3.
Sure.
So from November to now is what I'm kind of focusing on.
Yo, that's kind of an interesting debate then. Who do you have number one? Honestly, it could be any of Mango, M2K, or PP if you're looking at everything since last October.
I guess for myself, I really, I mean, as much as I'd want to, I feel it wouldn't be right for me to put PP number one, which is how little activity he's had. I mean, he's lost to. He doesn't have a great overall record. I mean, he won Apex, but when you look at everything else in perspective, it's not that much. I mean, he beat Mango and Mewtwo King. He beat HBox. I mean, so it was a really dominant performance, but I can't really put him there. I might put Mewtwo King number one. I mean, just if you go all the way back to Big House.
Yeah. It's close between Mango and M2K, right?
See, I think, at some point, if we're doing this as human beings, then I think you can't just look at the body of work in the context of just itself. You have to use all the information that's available to you. And we know what Mango is and what he's capable of. So even if he doesn't have the best results, I mean, you still have to ask yourself, do you really think that Mewtwo King or PP has a better shot of placing better than Mango at any given national, especially now that Mango's got sponsorships involved. This is sponsored Mango. This isn't Mango showing up to tournaments.
Yeah,
it's not like it.
It's not washed up Father Mango, Father Midwest Mango anymore.
Right.
It's sponsored, motivated Mango. It's pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah. If you put it that way, Sheridan, like if you were to ask, I mean, I put up an article recently or I haven't yet, but like we're in a really exciting time of Melee where you can't confidently bet a lot of money on a player to win it all. Like it's kind of like everybody has a slice of the pie. But given that, I would say, if I were to pick someone today, somebody were to shoot me, I would say Mango. Mango is the best player right now. He's the most likely to win Evo and MLG, in my opinion. But it isn't a substantial percentage that I believe he'll win.
So we got off topic a little bit. Can we talk about the performances at ROF 3? Like AMSA, besides Leffen, I think the story of the tournament by far.
Absolutely.
AMSA came into this tournament and everybody's like, okay, he had a great run at Apex. He was, in the 70s for SSBM rank? Okay, his run at Apex probably solidifies him in the top, 50 or maybe even, top 40. But after this tournament, I think you start talking about him as, a top 20 player easily. I don't think you go in there and you stomp on over Triforce and Ice like he did and take left into Game 5 without being considered in the top echelon of players. What do you guys think about that?
Well, let's remember that this is PAL. And that's not, I mean, that doesn't, I don't want to use that to diminish his accomplishments, but we have to remember that, especially versus over Triforce, that changes the balance of that matchup a lot. Because in PAL, the Sheik chain grab on Yoshi is not viable anymore. You have a tech chase, but a tech chase is not a chain grab. And Yoshi is also heavier in PAL, right? And I can't remember if he has any other changes besides that. But
here's what I'm saying though. I don't care if it's Yoshi or any other character. If you beat over Triforce 3-0,
yeah, absolutely.
Was it a 3-0 against Ice or was it a 3-1?
I don't know.
It was very
3-1.
It was a very convincing win over Ice. And look at what is he ranked? He's in the teens, right? For SSBM rank. Those are solid wins. I don't care if it's Yoshi, I don't care if it's PAL or NTSC.
But
sure.
I like to add that Ice, unless he knows the matchup, he sucks ass.
That's what Leffen said. Leffen took a shot at him after the tournament, right? He was like, Ice, he's amazing unless he's not playing against a Spacey.
Yeah,
It's
like
ouch.
there's like certain things like I mean Ice is amazing, don't get me wrong, but there are like things that like I picked up from playing AMSA a handful of matches. Like Ice was playing his approach, his overall strategy was not good at all against Yoshi. He was in the air a lot, and then Yoshi would just trade with Ice and then go into a deep juggle. So fundamentally speaking, he did not approach that matchup correctly at all.
Is AMSA
but-
for real?
He is. I'd put him in that ambiguous tier of like the 20 players that will all beat each other on any given day. That's like, impossible to rank.
Yeah. And I am so excited that he's coming to MLG and Evo and presumably CEO maybe? I don't know. I don't know how crazy they're going to get with that fund.
I don't know either.
But at the same time, let's take his results at the Japan tournament into consideration too.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to say that it discounts much, but I just want to point out that a lot of these players probably play each other, and if you play AMSA regularly, you probably have a ton of Yoshi experience.
Yeah.
Compared to everybody else in the world.
I've heard that Ko beats him like all the time.
Right. So I think I mean, this is a matter of opinion, but I think results outside your region speak more loudly than results inside your region.
I agree.
So I would say that his third place holds more weight than whatever happened at the Japan tournament.
I don't know what happened. He got 13th.
He got 13th.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of bracket he had or who he lost to, but that's way below, what we'd expect AMSA to get at this point.
Yeah. But I mean, Japan is not a huge country that's difficult to travel around and play everybody. I assume that most people in the top echelon have that Yoshi experience from.
I want to point out, AMSA, I believe, got second at a local tournament right after that MLG qualifier in Japan, and he beat Remen at that second tournament. So, I don't know what's up with this guy. Maybe he had an off day, but like,
Could be.
He's so for real. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering this though. I hate to jump kind of topics in advance, but like there's a lot of money on the line at MLG, and with people qualifying, like they know who they're very likely going to place or who they're going to face in the final bracket. Don't you think that everyone's going to invest time in studying AMSA as much as they can, or am I delusional?
They really should, because I mean, if he's guaranteed to qualify, which I presume he is, right? Is that correct, Daniel? Yeah. So
pretty much.
Then everybody else that's automatically qualified will be playing a set against him in those pools to seed the championship bracket. So it's not like where you go into a regular major and you're just like, well, there's not a big chance I'm going to run into the Yoshi in my bracket. You're definitely going to play him. So I expect people to invest time into just learning, if not, spending a lot of time finding a Yoshi to play against. Just, searching and looking for like 2 or 3 reliable tricks to use against Yoshi. I don't know where you get Yoshi practice, but
you're
gonna have to find it.
I guess that's one of the advantages of the round robin format that MLG came up with. The midway round robin, like after that open bracket, it's because everybody's you're gonna get at least a set versus AMSA, right?
Yeah,
that's interesting. I don't know if people are gonna study. It's worth it to study.
I think it's interesting. Yeah, you definitely who you're gonna play, and that gives you prime opportunity to study. A lot of people don't study because they're just like, well, there's not a 100% chance I'm going to run into this guy, so it may not be worth it just to study this guy. I'm just going to study just a matchup in general and hope it applies to playing this person. But now people, once all the qualifiers are done, people are going to have that chance. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of technology arises out of that.
All right, you want to move on?
Yeah.
We spent a good amount of time on ROF.
Okay.
Yeah, Daniel, tell us about Super Smash Sundays.
So Super Smash Sunday 20 It's an ongoing series in SoCal, and this time we funded the SoCal Fraudulent Fund. And to summarize that, we asked, it was kind of like a donation drive where we asked people in the community to donate money to whoever they wanted to send out of a list of players we chose to SoCal, and that ended up being Plup by like $5. It was a neck-to-neck race between Plup and Soft, and Plup ended up winning. So Plup comes out to SoCal, and we have a boss rush event for him, where basically he takes on, he plays back-to-back crew battles with SoCal's best players, along with playing in the singles bracket.
Results from that?
So we had 4 teams in SoCal: the D team, the C team, the B team, and the A team. Plup demolished the D and C team. He destroyed Hugs really bad and ruined what Ken put in terms of work. Ken actually took off 6 stocks, and we had a lead. And then Hugs only took off 1 stock, and then we fell behind, and it was a disaster from there.
Yeah.
Against the B team, he did pretty well, and then the A team was actually hilarious. Lucky started off against Plup, and then Lucky won, and he just jumps off stage and dies.
I saw
kills
that.
himself. And then Plup takes a 2-stock lead overall against Fiction. Johnny and Wes bring it back, and it's just really close down to the wire. It was actually exciting.
Nice.
So is Plup a fraud, or is this conclusive evidence that he's not a fraud?
What do you think, Sheridan?
Well, you got to tell me what a fraud is first.
I don't know
But
what a fraud is.
I say, unless you have a just extremely, I mean, unless everybody besides like the top, 15 or so, 15 or 25 are frauds, then, I mean, I think he did as well as you could reasonably expect, right?
I think
Yeah.
to me, a fraud is like just going by the SSBM rank thing again. Someone who's way too high on SSBM rank.
And what was he?
He was like high 20s, so I think that's very fair.
I think, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Arian brought up a good point. If you look at the top 5 or 6 players on the East Coast, or just like east of the Mississippi, you'd be hard pressed not to put Plup up there. Like after those first 3, and then I guess maybe Hack's 4th. Although I don't know even with his Fox anymore. Plup is right up there. So I think it's fair. Where his SSBM rank is. Yeah, I don't think he's a fraud at all based on the results here.
I think the issue a lot of people on the West Coast had was I think they started hyping him up back in 2012 when he didn't do anything. And he had an early bracket exit in 2012.
Yeah.
And yet people were still saying he's like top 10 in the world. And so I think people in Florida. So it's kind of like, we know he's good, but you're kind of going a little overboard, just as how kind of NorCal loves their Jeff. Lord Neff, I guess.
Midwest loves their Dark Rain.
Yeah.
Plup. So Hungry Box hyped him up a lot, didn't he?
Yes.
And then at Apex 2012, he got 49th or 33rd, something like that. He lost to Reno. I know that was one of his losses. I don't remember who he lost to next, but it was
Silent Wolf.
Yeah, okay, that's not bad, but still, the placing didn't match the expectations there. And then the last 2 years, he's gotten 13th at Apex, which is solid.
Yeah.
Like, solid placing. What other things happened at SSS? J1?
I think what's more important is they don't have to play anyone, and that's because Bizarro Flame beat Fly Chic.
Fly went Chic against
Bizarre.
I mean, that's not. I do. That sounds like hard for ice climbers. Ganondorf does.
Yeah.
Apparently, Bizarro's been trashing on Wobbles and other ice climbers for years. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Bizarro definitely has the upper edge on Fly. If you look at history, Fly has had to bring out Sheik to win, so it'd be like Ganon versus ice climbers game 1, and Bizarro would Fly. And at Genesis 2, Bizarro actually beat Wobbles.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
He straight up in
And the Death Pulse. I think they'll got him in Super Kid.
Wow. Oh yeah, he did make Brad. Bizarro bopping fly. That's so funny to me. Okay.
Yeah.
I see us back on.
Stick with it.
Want to try this again? What's
Okay.
what's going on with Pat's house, guys? Someone tell me.
Pat's house. It's gonna be fantastic. It's
Who's
the
running it?
West Coast. It's run by none other than Pat. Although this is not the same Pat that Pat's house is named after. It's just
What? That's
Whoa.
so confusing.
No way.
That's what. Okay,
Yeah.
I was super confused about that because the original Pat's house was literally at a house by, like, for a guy named Pat, right?
Yeah, but it's a different. This is not the same Pat.
And then now, like, they moved to some like 10,000 square foot venue with all these extravagant pictures. From what I see, it's
I
like,
think it's the Winter Game Fest venue.
so I'm like, yo, did Pat get a severe upgrade to his house, or like it's a different Pat? This makes sense now.
Right. So this is the former legendary
Asian
Pat's
Lep.
house. Yeah. So Asian Lep is the TO, great TO from San Diego. But the Pat of Pat's house was this guy named Pat who lived in the LA area, and his house was like pretty much training grounds for a lot of SoCal in, like, I want to say 08, 09, maybe 10.
Yeah, original Pat's house
2010.
was 09, I think.
Yeah. So that's where the name Pat's House came from, because it was training grounds. But anyway, this tournament is at UC San Diego, and I think we've got close to 150 people entering in singles. And who are the big names coming? Hungry Box, Mewtwo King.
Hungry Box, Mewtwo King. Those are the only two that matter right now in terms of MLG points, because
Mm-hmm.
I guess West Coast maybe was hoping to claim one of those auto spots for MLG, and that ain't happening anymore because M2K and Hungry Box are coming back to town.
But will the person who gets third place at Pat's house automatically qualify?
Absolutely not. Even second place wouldn't.
Wow.
Just because of the point distribution.
So to recap, let me go run through the top 8. So this is a 2,000 point qualifier. So second gets 1,200.
Oh, this is only 2,000. Okay.
Yeah. Third gets,
That's why.
third gets 880. Fourth gets 720, and then fifth gets 640. Seventh gets 560. So you're not really getting much, even in the top 8.
Right, I see. Yeah, so I guess you pretty much have to get first to even have a chance. I mean, well, first qualifies you automatically, right?
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah, so you pretty much have to get first, which is going to entail beating Hungry Box, probably, and Mewtwo King.
Yeah.
So, right? So
Does
if
anybody
anybody can do it, who would be able to do it if anybody could?
Does anyone have a chance? Like I don't think anybody can do it.
Look
I
at
can't
those
see-
menacing too on top of that picture. Hungry Box and Mewtwo King are just looking down at our Cali heroes.
It's very fitting that they're the two ones on top, and they're like, yeah, they're just overlooking everyone else. Dude, if it was just one of them, I'd give somebody like a 25% chance. But
I say 10.
if it's two of them, I'll dude, nobody can do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Seriously.
If
I
someone
mean,
were to do it, who?
West Pulse.
I think Johnny might have a slightly better chance for whatever reason. Here's why. Because I know this is kind of an old match, but Johnny against Mewtwo King at
Oh yeah, Genesis 2.
Genesis 2. Yeah. Johnny was like a whiffed ledge hop knee away from making that really close set.
Oh yeah,
And-
he pooped on M2K except like on the last stock of every match
Yeah.
where he either
That's
got
like
gimped
that
or
was one of my favorite sets from Genesis 2.
absolutely.
And I mean, Mewtwo King had that was 2009, but the punishment game on Falcon from Sheik hasn't really changed that much. I mean, people are just better at doing it now. Whereas I feel like Johnny's movement has only gotten better in that amount of time. So I think that there's the slightest chance that Johnny might be able to kind of bring his game up to that level so that like the relative skill level between them is like close to that Genesis 2009 level, and only then is there going to be like that 10% shot that he has to beat Mewtwo King. But I mean, that's why we play the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I have a quick question. So if Pew Pew and Hungrybox play each other, will Pew Pew last more than 5 minutes for 3 matches?
Wow.
Is that a reference to the Moon's
Yeah.
shortest set of all time?
That is so mean.
But he did. Well, I bring him up because all 3 NCR matches were actually really close.
Yeah. He broke Hungrybox's shield, didn't he?
Yes,
Yeah,
he
that
did.
was super sick with it.
Yo, I don't want to hate on the Moon versus Hungrybox. I mean, if he wanted to lose in 10 minutes, he could have lost in 10 minutes. But he wanted
That's
to play
true.
his game, so he lost in 5 instead.
I'm gonna bring up some interesting talking points. So there are some people that are in contention that are already qualified at this tournament, actually. So Zero's coming to the tournament, actually,
Oh wow. Okay.
and he has 1,400 points,
Hmm.
and he's going to Skitar. Or,
Yeah.
how do you pronounce that?
I think
So
Gator. Yeah.
So he probably needs to just crack like top 16, maybe even top like 24 both of these tournaments to get a shot, to get a spot.
Yeah, that's what I wrote, give or
Mhm.
take. It's going to be a little difficult because, I look at the lineups, and I'm not sure how strong a player Zero is, no offense to him. But
Yeah, I have no idea, honestly.
it's a reach, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah. I looked at Daniel's analysis, and I think it's a reach for him, but he could do it with a couple really solid performances.
Right. I mean, people, NorCal and SoCal, tend to think very highly of themselves for good reason. And I think there's a chance that, whoever ends up meeting him in that crucial point in the bracket, he just might get slept on
Mhm.
and,
Yeah.
just take that, that set 2-1, just, winning that first game by surprise and then just winning his counter pick. But
Yeah. But then he could also lose the squid.
Wow. Who lost the squid? I'm not getting this reference.
So Gravy lost the squid at Kings of Cali.
Oh yeah. No,
Um,
that kind of just tells the story right there. Gravy got, what did he get? 4th at
Third.
NSA, 3rd at NSA, and then he got 49th at Kings of Cali. Is that right?
41st, 49.
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
what, 5th in the pools?
So he got like 6th in round
6th in the pools,
In
right?
round
Because
two.
5th would be
Yeah.
33rd.
Yeah.
6th would be 41st. Yeah.
Yeah. SoCal's pretty good. I don't know if Zero's gonna get any points at Pat's house, honestly.
I mean, if he gets like 25th, he gets points. That's very doable. I mean,
Oh yeah, I haven't looked at how stacked Pat's house is gonna be.
it's not. I would say there's about 30 strong players, so
Okay.
I would actually be shocked with as much as he's playing lately that he gets any worse than 25th or
Okay.
like tied
Mhm.
25th.
Okay. Cool.
Who else is there? Plup. Plup is at 1,200. Rumor has it that if I talked to Plup and he said he's not really interested in Skitar after being in SoCal for now like almost a week and a half. But if he gets like 500 points, I mean, if he like gets top 8 here, gets 560, that puts him at 1760, and he could very easily get that qualifying bid if he just goes to Skitar. So I think that kind of question looms over him. If he does well at Pat's house, does he now make that dive to go to Skitar? So he's an interesting situation as well.
Yep. We're kind of leading into the next topic, right? I'm cool with that. The current MLG standings.
Yes. So we have a spreadsheet.
We should talk about it. Yeah. Can you link that? I don't actually.
I linked it. Yes. Let me link it in the page too. So We have a list of people who we believe are threats coming up. So there are some people with 0 points, and the reason why they're still kind of alive are because they're also entering Skeetar and Pat's house, so they have 2 qualifiers, although it's highly unlikely. So those are all the people that we believe. Let's just leave it up. So let's just kind of go off the top.
Yeah, sure.
Soft, in or out?
In for sure.
Sheridan?
You got to put him in. I mean, you're at 2,000 points. And Skatar is is a 5,000 point one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what does he need to get? He needs to get like top 32.
He would need to bomb both tournaments and pretty much get shut out in order to not make it.
Yeah. Turns out Soft is not going to Pat's house anymore. He canceled.
Oh, okay. So Skatar. I mean, still look at the points distribution for Skatar.
Yeah,
right.
He needs to get third.
Yeah, if he just gets like even 33rd, he could probably make it.
Yeah.
So yeah, soft's in.
Yeah.
Okay. Going down, Ice unfortunately is not going to anymore unless somebody decides to buy him a plane ticket for some reason. I think we could safely say he's out at 1,800.
Yeah, Ice is gonna have to make that climb at MLG if he's going. That's unfortunate for him.
But do we know if MLG will actually seed their bracket based on points at all?
Probably not. It's probably going to be true.
I mean, I think it would be silly not to.
I don't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
But, I think whoever runs, I think Jake might be in charge of seeding everything. So, I mean, if he's not too, under the direct control of whoever runs it, I expect him to make reasonable decisions with regard to seeding. And if you're sticking with the point system for this qualifying, you might as well stick with it for seeding the bracket.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I would say that even if you're not going to make the pools, you might as well do your best to get the points because you don't you have nothing to lose. You might get seeded, but maybe you don't.
And I think MLG is going to be a good platform for people to get recognized by potential teams and sponsors too.
Yes.
I've already actually seen like on the Twitterverse some people discussing like, hey, does this person have a team or sponsor yet? Like they're doing really well in the MLG qualifying point system. So, dude, like I think any points that people can get, even if they just barely don't make the cut, I think it's worth it just for like their Smash career, I guess.
Right. Next is Flo. I made a little bit of an error. He's not going to Pat's house, but he's going to Skeetar. He has a lot of points, 1480. He's one of those borderline guys that, if he gets 17th at Skeetar, he gets 600 points, which just puts him at 2080. And if he gets 13th, then he gets 2380. So I don't know how good Flo is. Do you guys know at all?
I don't have a great idea. I can kind of estimate how good he is based on his shuffle results and his bracket, but I don't think he's gonna make it. It's gonna be too tough to just go to Skatar and get 13th.
Yeah, that tournament looks really stacked, actually.
13th might not even get him in. So,
well,
no,
13th.
It would.
Sorry,
it would.
Yeah,
I thought he had 1280, not 1480. So yeah, you're right. I'm gonna predict he doesn't get in though. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, we talked about Zero already. He's a reach in my book. Hacks. He has Skeetar left.
This is really interesting. Did Hacks have? He had some sort of injury that kept him out of Get On My Level, right?
Wrist.
Yeah, he had that wrist injury that was talked about in the MIOM article. Does anybody know what his status is? Like, is he playing again? Is he still sidelined?
I'm not sure. All I know is that he's playing League of Legends like every night.
All right. Well, maybe he got carpal tunnel from that, not Smash. Maybe he's playing the wrong game.
Yeah.
No, I doubt it.
Well, I doubt he has carpal tunnel.
He sprained it.
Sprained it. Okay. I'm making stuff up. Hacks is really interesting. I don't I don't know how. I mean, that injury is going to affect him, but if he is normal hacks, shows up, and plays to the level that we expect him to play, he'll get in
Hmm.
because he
Yeah, I
needs
mean,
13th.
yes, I would say 12th is guaranteed. 13th through 16th, the only way he wouldn't make it is if he loses to somebody that needs to like jump
Yeah,
above him
yeah,
to get there. Yeah.
Or if he runs into Duck. Shouts to Daryl.
yeah. I don't know how that
Right.
go.
So if I mean, that's the thing. If he loses to somebody that needs to jump above him,
Oh
it
yeah.
kind of has to be kind of a perfect storm for him not to get in at 16th. But
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah. So
there's an outside shot.
I think we can all agree if Hacks is playing anywhere close to his potential, I think he's in.
Okay. Duck.
Mhm.
Duck is interesting. Same scenario, 1200 and Skeetar. What do you guys think?
So you said he needs 13th at Skatar, right? Does that still apply, or have things changed?
I mean, it's the same as hacks. I would say
Same.
about
Yeah.
2100 is like a 70, 60, 70% shot. I would
Mhm.
say to be absolutely safe, he needs to get that ninth place because that jumps him over whoever finishes third at Skeetar as well.
Yeah. Ninth.
Right.
It's gonna
Exactly.
be. It's gonna be tough, but I think he can do it. He's got some really good wins since last December. He's got wins in tournament over Kirby Kaze, Hugs, Lovage, bunch of other good players. So I wouldn't. He beat Vans twice at Fight Pit. He beat Cactuar,
Hmm.
Rainex, and Weonex at the Toronto tournament. So I wouldn't put it past him at all. I think he can do it.
Well, how many spots are there left right now?
About, I would say 5. I mean, arguably 6 if you put AMSA in a danger zone, but I don't think he is. He's at 2560, so I would say 5 spots are left.
Okay, and if PP wins SKTAR, then there'd only be 4 spots left for qualifiers, right? For
Yeah.
points.
So what I'm
Right.
saying, yeah, pretty much like everyone on this list here is pretty much fighting for 5 spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think. Well, okay. Here's the thing. If PP needs third at Skatar, right?
Yeah.
And he'll be in. Ooh, that is really interesting.
All right, let's run through these 4 randos. Professor Pro 1100. Supposedly he gave Armada a run for his money in Fox Pseudo, so maybe he's decent.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's just
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
know the actual result.
Yeah, if he can snipe 9 through 12, then
Yeah, he needs
it
ninth.
seems like that would do it.
I
But
think
I have no
Hmm.
idea,
I
really.
I think it's doubtful.
Okay, I put 10% tops.
Yeah.
The moon 0.
Yeah, dude, 880.
3%
Oh
chance.
man, what does he need at Skatar? He probably needs top 8, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
That's gonna be super tough.
Needs a very favorable bracket and
Don't see it
just
happening.
a great day.
Yeah. Kirby Kaze actually I think Kirby Kaze is a really interesting one. I'm not even sure if he's going to Skitar. I mean, he wanted to go, but I'm not sure what that even means.
Yeah.
He,
Hmm.
he would need realistically top 8, but to be safe, top 6.
Which he
Yeah.
could do. Like I think KK is nearly back to 2012 level KK.
Is
at
he
this
really?
point. Like from what I've seen. Okay,
What's the evidence of that? Because
he kind of got bopped at the next episode. I understand that, but
and with that Michigan tournament,
which was before next episode. But I mean, recently he's been looking good. That's all I gotta say. I can't analyze it any better than that.
well, what you're calling recently is like 2 months, the span of 2 months.
Yeah,
It's a little difficult to extrapolate.
sure.
But I mean, this is a top level player we're talking about. This is basically like the second tier under the top 5. Most people would say,
Yeah.
right? At his prime,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't really just go away. So I do, even though it's only been 2 months, you have to. I agree that you have to take it seriously when somebody does really well, like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
Even if it's a short span.
I think he's borderline, maybe like 30-40% chance of getting in if he goes to Skatar. Fifth is going to be tough.
Yeah.
Definitely within his pedigree to do.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, let's look at, we have Armada there, we have PP there,
Mango,
Mango,
I think, right? Yeah,
Mewtwo King.
and Mewtwo King.
Mewtwo King.
And I don't see KK being any of those 4 at this point yet.
Right.
But
So I mean, he's going to have to beat. I mean, look at all the other talent that's going to be there. West Balls, Shroomed, SFAT.
yeah, and
You have to beat. You're going to have to beat like two of those guys.
And while KK might, like on paper, just with the legacy, he might be a favorite on paper against those guys. He's got to be at least 2 of them, so he might slip up, and that's tough, right? When you have to go through losers at a tournament like Skatar. I'll give him a 30% chance.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 25.
Yeah,
I say 30. Well, not 30.
25 is generous, but yeah.
Nintendo, same situation. He's gotten a lot of wins, but I mean, we haven't even accounted for like people like Chudat or Chillin or like other people that might show up.
Yeah. I mean, and he got 9th at Big House 3.
Nintendo?
7? Yeah.
He got 5th. He made a big run.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's 5th is a big run for him at Big House 3.
Right.
And SK-Tar is going to be even harder.
But he has gotten better since then, from all accounts. Maybe so is everyone else. Who knows?
I've been buying a Nintendo stock for a long time.
I'm only gonna give him a 10% chance here. I think it's very unlikely.
I say less than 5% chance for me.
Because he's got to get top 8.
Yeah, I would say 5 too. Now we move on to people with the 0 points. So PPMD, why don't you talk about this, Juggle Guy?
This is all going to come down to that winner's semis match that he's going to play against either Mango, Armada, or M2K. You know, because if he loses that, he's going to get bounced into losers quarters, and he's going to presumably face one of those other heavy hitters in losers semis. And if he loses that one, he's out. He will be out at 4th place. He has to get top 3. So this is basically, you know, what are his chances in winner semis against any of the, you know, Mango, Armada, M2K? I think he has an excellent shot versus Armada and M2K. I don't know about Motivated Mango. I think Motivated Mango is a pretty big favorite on paper against PP, but the odds are good. So I'm going to say 66% chance, just because I think he's really got Armada and M2K on lock if he faces them.
Yeah. What do you think the 4 seeds are going to be if you know, when they seed Skitar?
We talked about this earlier. Like, I think Armada's clearly he has to be the 4th seed based on the body of work recently, and I think M2K, Mango, and PP, it's toss up. I like any of those 3. I would give the slight edge to Mango just because he's done really well in the last 2 months, but it's a toss up. I don't know.
You know what's really exciting? We used to just salivate whenever these matches would happen. We're seeing this happen 3 times in 2 months. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, now we're moving on to our West Coast heroes. It's looking very grim for them, actually. We'll start with West Balls.
Well, just to give people an idea, and just remind me too, what does somebody with 0 points like West Balls or Shroomed, what do they need to get at Pat's house and then Skatar?
Okay, so if you get 4th place, you're essentially in KK shoes as of right now. You get 720 points.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty much almost the lowest you can get. Maybe you can get 5th, or you can get 640.
I almost want to say whoever gets 3rd at Pat's house, if it's West Balls, Shroomed, or SFAT, then I'll give them a 25% chance of doing it, because then you're asking for a top 8 finish from them at Skatar, which is very doable for any of those 3, I think.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Whoever I think 4th too will put you right, because 4th at Pat's house will be 720, and then 8th place at Skatar will be 1400. So that'll get you 2120.
I don't know if 2120 is going to make it there, but
Yeah, you're gonna have to hope that you meet somebody in your bracket
Sure.
that you need to not
Yeah.
get points.
Oh, who's seeding the bracket at Skatar? They've got too much power, dude.
I know.
I don't like this.
Yeah, they do. Dude, you know, like, I hate to bring this up, and, you know, like, we're in a culture where we shouldn't be doing this at all, but, like, do you think that temptation comes up of collusion?
I think the thought crosses people's minds, but at this point, with just, you know, what's happened since ROM 5 and the culture that has been instilled in people's minds about splitting since then, I don't think it'll happen. I do think it would cross people's minds just because of the nature of the points distribution.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I would still, as a TO, even if the skill doesn't exactly justify the seeding, I would still try to seed the bracket such that the West Coast people don't have to meet each other until, you know,
Quarters.
quarterfinals. Yeah,
Yeah,
just for that reason.
yeah. Because there's only, what, 3, 4 of them going to Skatar. I don't think there's any excuse not to put them in different quarters of the bracket.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you have a lot of people in the same, signed team, then that issue of seeding comes up. I'm totally messing. Like,
Yeah.
I'm totally joking, joshing. Anyways,
that ain't ROM.
yeah. What about Hugs? Hugs, he got 4th last week. He outplaced Plug. What percent do we give him?
I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go like 1% on this one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I'd feel comfortable with 1%.
I no universe do I see him making it more than 1 out of 100 times if he played this. Yeah, no, he put in some work at SSS. Not gonna take that away from him. Maybe West Balls, right?
Yeah, he did.
And Connor and probably someone else that I'm forgetting.
Probably.
Yeah.
Alrighty, and that wraps up our discussion. Oh yeah, so if you
Well,
want to,
there's still the open bracket.
yeah.
So there's going to be 8 people coming from that.
Yeah. Favorites for that, I think Ice, big favorite, assuming he makes it.
Right.
Anybody with a disproportionate punish game will do amazing there. Shouts to Evo. So I just put Fly in there too.
Yeah, Fly. Yeah, I don't know if Chudad's going, but maybe him. Yeah.
S2J.
Yeah.
That's going to be killer. Even though you already have a lot of people filtered out, all the big 5 are most likely going to be qualified. You still have a slew of those top 25 players that you have to get through.
Yeah.
Right.
Not easy at all.
It really makes a huge difference whether you come out in winners or losers of that.
Yes.
Because if you come out in winners, you're going to go up at least 2 or 3 spots.
Shouts to Soft.
Because, yeah, right. So you're going to be playing people who are not as strong as, they're just because of the way the qualifying system works. Mm-hmm. So somebody like Johnny will have, he'll have Soft and, maybe Flow or Zero in there, maybe Duck or Plup or something.
Mm-hmm.
No, but he's gonna have 2 or 3 sets that are significantly easier than the other ones.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure you get there in winners.
Yeah.
Because if you come in losers, you are at the bottom of a ginormous ladder, and you have to win like 6 sets in order to make it to have a shot at grand finals.
Dude. Would that be the hardest, losers? If somebody made that run, would that, be, the ultimate losers bracket run?
Yo, Mango should have not won a qualifier and then made that loser bracket run to solidify himself as, the clutchest of all time. If someone makes a run like that for losers,
isn't he already solidified?
Okay, yeah, but
he had
here's what I'm
pretty
saying.
much the hardest bracket you could have given him at
Pound 3
at Evo too.
Evo, yeah, here's what I'm saying though. If somebody sweeps MLG and Evo, like they're immediately going to be thrown into that discussion of greatest of all time. I don't care
Yeah.
who it is. If somebody sweeps those two tournaments, so I think Mango it's almost getting to a point where Mango needs to make another run to solidify that spot. Just because
Yeah.
of the opportunity cost of like if he doesn't do it at MLG or Evo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I agree. There's one last thing we want to plug in. MLG TV/class tournaments is going to be the default stream for Pat's house this weekend. It'll be on both Saturday and Sunday. That's MLG.TV/class tournament. So tune in. Sheridan and I will be there actually.
Sick with it.
Are there
Nice.
anything else that we need to close on, or are we good?
Yo, I think we're pretty good.
Okay. Good night, guys. Happy Thursday.
Yep.
See you from Pat's house.